One morning, the child woke up from his long sleep because of the hammering and banging on the veranda. He exited the bed, rubbed his eyes, and went downstairs to see where the sounds came from. As he neared the front door, he found his father squatting over a broken lawnmower. The boy was used to seeing things like this. His father was always fixing things. They could be a leaking roof or a broken appliance. He was a man of few words, or maybe he was not just interested. "Good morning, father." Despite the noise and the early hour, Baste greeted his father pleasantly. His father gave a fleeting glance up, his look uncommunicative, before returning to his work without saying anything. Baste sighed and went into the kitchen to prepare breakfast. His father entered the room and wiped his hands with a rag. "Eat up and get ready for school." His father responded casually. The child nodded, used to his father's relaxed approach. He quickly completed his meal and went upstairs to prepare for the day. As he packed his books and backpack, he felt disappointed by his father's lack of interest in him. Despite this overwhelming emotion, Baste went to school. As he entered the classroom, he noticed his teacher carrying a poster. The billboard advertised tryouts for a school play, and they were looking for cast members. Baste's eyes widened with enthusiasm as the teacher described each character in detail. The teacher described a brave and daring hero leading the group on a mission to defend the kingdom from an evil sorcerer. Baste's heart beat with anticipation as he pictured himself as the hero, carrying a sword and confronting danger head-on. As the teacher continued to describe the other characters, Bast's mind raced with ideas. There was a wise old wizard, a crafty thief, a mighty warrior, and a caring princess. Each character possessed distinct characteristics, and Baste could not wait to bring them to life on stage. The teacher encouraged students to audition for any role they were interested in, and Baste immediately decided that he wanted to play the monster, the story's central character. He spent the remainder of the day practicing his lines and honing his swordplay, hoping to please the casting directors. When audition day arrived, Baste stood uncomfortably before the casting panel. As he delivered his words with passion and conviction, a thrill of excitement circulated through his veins. Baste was overjoyed when the casting directors announced that he had been cast as the monster. The sessions were intense and challenging, but Baste embraced his role with passion and enthusiasm. He worked tirelessly on his performance, immersing himself in the play's atmosphere and bringing his character to life with each line he spoke. However, his delight quickly changed to concern when he realized that the costume required for the play was beyond his family's budget. Feeling discouraged, Baste confided in his cousin, who encouraged him to discuss his problems with his father. Baste reluctantly discussed his concerns with his father, expecting rejection or a scolding. To his amazement, Baste's father listened intently, but said nothing, convincing himself he could never participate in the play, and he went to sleep. That night, he could not believe what he witnessed. A large, dark shadow that resembled a monster, working. It was barely a glimpse, yet it sent chills down his spine. "Who are you?" Baste yelled. "What do you want?" Baste shouted, and was jolted awake by his father's hand. "Someone was on the veranda last night, father," Baste said, his eyes trying to persuade his father. His father responded indifferently, "Eat up and get ready for school." On the second night, he saw more. The head was huge, with glaring red eyes that seemed to go straight through him. He could not take his gaze away from it, even if his instincts warned him to escape. The following day, Baste told his friend the story. "That's true. I asked him what he wanted, but he just said," Baste began, preparing to imitate the beast. "I am the guardian of this land." Baste talked in a deep, rumbling voice. "I protect it from those who would harm it," Baste added. "But where is it? Is it at your house right now? Can we see it?" Baste's friend said, still in astonishment. "Ah," Baste sighed and remarked, "I didn't see him when I woke up this morning." "Maybe because it was just a dream," Baste's friend said, laughing at him. Baste was slightly annoyed by his friend since he did not trust his stories, but perhaps he was simply dreaming. For the third time, he glimpsed its body. It was big and muscular, with sharp claws capable of tearing through anything in its path. He felt a sense of horror sweep over him as he understood how powerful this thing was, but he remembered what it had said about his noble quest. "But why do you appear so frightening? Why do you scare people away?" Bast enthusiastically asked the creature. "Basti, these are not your lines. You are daydreaming again," his teacher observed, patting his shoulder. They were practicing for the play. By the fourth night, he noticed it moving. It was slow and systematic, and each stride caused tremors. He could hear its heavy breathing, like a beast about to pounce on its prey. "No, you're not real! Stop scaring me!" Bast murmured to himself, before closing his eyes and falling asleep. As time passed, the monster became more prominent in his memory. He understood that he needed to act quickly before it was too late. But while he stood there, watching the monster working in the shadows, he could not help but worry if it was genuinely protecting them or if it would eat them soon. But he knew he could not beat it. He awoke one morning and blinked his eyes several times, attempting to make sense of what he had seen. A creature stood before him. Its sharp teeth glinted in the dawnlight, and its claws were dangerous. He screamed, his heart racing in his chest. But then, he spotted his father. He was holding the creature with amusement on his face. "What are you doing, father? You scared me half to death," screamed the child, relief washing over him as he grasped the truth. His father chuckled slightly, but did not want to cross his emotions as he placed down the monster costume. His father responded casually, "Eat up and get ready for school. We will bring your costume for your dress rehearsal." His father smiled and added, Basti had no idea that the shadow he saw was his father, who was working feverishly on his play costume. Night after night, Basti's father worked hard, cutting and sewing fabric to bring the monster man to life. 2 weeks before the play, Basti was astounded to see the costume his father had mightily made for him. With tears in his eyes, Basti hugged his father warmly, moved by the act of love and sacrifice. Finally, the day of the performance came. As Basti waited backstage in his homemade outfit, he experienced a wave of confidence and gratitude. As the curtains were drawn back, Basti entered the stage, his eyes wide with astonishment. The set was a lovely forest with shimmering lights and vibrant flowers covering the stage. Basti took a big breath and started reciting his lines, his voice loud and clear. The story of the loving monster unfolded in front of the audience, telling of friendship and bravery. Basti's performance was captivating, his movements were graceful, and his expressions were convincing. The audience was intrigued and hung on to his every word. The play was a huge success, with laughter, acclaim, and steadfast support from his family and community. Basti's heart swelled with pride as he played the role of the loving monster, bringing delight to everyone who watched. As a result, the story of the loving monster became a village legend, representing resilience, kindness, and the power of love. Basti discovered that sometimes the greatest monsters are not those we fear, but those who love us unconditionally and support us through life's difficulties. As the performance ended, Basti realized he would always have a loving monster leading him through life's ups and downs. And, full of gratitude, Basti said a silent thank you to his father, the real hero of his narrative.